Have you ever wondered why some older adults lose their strength so quickly, even when they walk every day? Walking is supposed to be the most natural and beneficial exercise, yet many seniors unknowingly make small mistakes that slowly eat away at their leg strength, mobility, and balance. It happens quietly, no dramatic fall, no sudden injury, just a gradual decline that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. These everyday habits, repeated over time, can weaken the muscles, tighten the joints, and make something as simple as getting up from a chair feel like a struggle. And the most shocking part, most people think they're doing everything right. They believe that a daily walk around the block is enough to keep their bodies strong and their legs active. But the truth is, not all walking is equal. In fact, without realizing it, many are walking in a way that contributes to instability, fatigue, and even long-term deterioration. Whether it's taking short, shuffling steps, leaning forward too much, or avoiding slight inclines, these subtle actions carry serious consequences, and yet they're incredibly common. If you've noticed that your legs feel more tired than usual, or if you've seen a loved one start to walk differently, perhaps a bit slower or more cautiously, it's not just aging. It's a warning sign, a message from the body that something is off. The way we walk, especially in our later years, becomes a direct reflection of our strength, our independence, and even our confidence. Every movement, every step, either builds us up or slowly breaks us down. What makes this even more concerning is that these mistakes are often passed off as harmless quirks of aging. But they are not harmless. They are signals, subtle red flags, that we can no longer afford to ignore. Because if we do, the price isn't just weak legs, it's a diminished quality of life, it's lost freedom, and it's preventable. Once you become aware of these walking mistakes, everything changes. You begin to move with purpose. You regain control over your body. And the best part is, correcting them doesn't require a gym, a personal trainer, or expensive equipment. It starts with something much simpler. Awareness. And that's exactly why this video exists. We're going to walk you through the most common mistakes that are secretly weakening the legs of older adults. Mistakes that often go unnoticed, yet have a major impact on strength, balance, and independence. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Have you or someone you love ever experienced unexpected leg weakness or changes in walking patterns? Drop a comment below and share your story. It could help someone else recognize what they've been overlooking. And if you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button. It tells the platform that this message matters. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss another insight that could change your health and your future. Now, let's uncover the walking habits that may be doing more harm than good. It often starts so subtly that no one really notices. A slight change in the rhythm of walking, a bit less lift in the feet, a quieter step that drags just slightly across the floor. Most people shrug it off, thinking it's just a natural part of getting older. But that seemingly harmless change, the shift to shorter, shuffling steps, is one of the most underestimated signs of a deeper problem. It's not just about moving slower. It's about how the body begins to adjust in quiet ways that reveal a loss of strength, a fading of confidence, and a creeping instability that few are willing to admit out loud. What many don't realize is that every step we take is a signal, an ongoing message about the health of our legs, our hips, and our sense of balance. When someone starts to shorten their stride, it's often because the muscles required for a full step, the quadriceps, the calves, the glutes, are no longer firing the way they should. The knees begin to stiffen, the hips lock up, and the feet don't rise off the ground with the same assurance they once did. Over time, this change becomes the new normal. The brain, in an effort to feel safe, starts accepting this reduced movement as the default. But deep beneath the surface, muscles are weakening, range of motion is shrinking, and the body is adapting to a more fragile state. What's most unsettling is how unnoticed it all feels. There's no pain, no dramatic fall, just a quiet trade-off, less movement in exchange for a false sense of control. But the consequences arrive quickly. The legs, no longer challenged to stretch fully or lift properly, begin to lose mass. The core no longer needs to engage with each step, so posture declines. And soon, that shuffle becomes a whisper of what used to be a confident, stable gait. People stop walking as far. They start avoiding uneven ground. Fear of falling grows quietly in the background, reinforcing the very habits that brought them there. And so the question becomes, how many steps have you taken without truly lifting your feet? How long has it been since your walk felt powerful, like it carried you with purpose? These are not just signs of aging. They are messages from the body, asking to be heard before it's too late. If this resonates with you or reminds you of someone you love, let us know in the comments. Type, "I've seen this before," if you've noticed the shuffle, or just share your thoughts below. Your voice could help someone recognize what they've been ignoring. Once the stride has shortened and the feet no longer lift with intention, the next subtle shift often happens in posture. It's the slow, almost imperceptible tilt forward of the upper body, a lean that starts with good intentions, usually meant to help with balance or momentum. But over time, that forward tilt becomes a habit, one that rewires how the body carries its own weight. And what may feel like a stabilizing adjustment is, in truth, a posture of compensation, not strength. Leaning forward when walking may seem like a small thing, especially if it helps someone feel safer, but in reality, it throws off the entire alignment of the body. When the torso tips forward, the center of gravity shifts, the core disengages, the lower back begins to carry more strain, and the legs, especially the thighs and glutes, are robbed of their opportunity to work the way they're meant to. What's even more concerning is how this posture sends signals to the brain that we are in a defensive position, one of caution and instability. It communicates tension, not confidence, and that mental message has a ripple effect. It's like the body enters a low-grade emergency mode, always on guard, always bracing for the next step. And in that constant state of alert, muscles tire faster, fatigue sets in earlier, and the freedom of movement disappears little by little. What's often misunderstood is that upright walking isn't just about looking confident, it's about activating the right muscle groups. The glutes need to fire, the abdominal muscles need to support, the shoulders must stay relaxed and open. When you lean forward, none of that happens. Instead, the momentum falls to the front of the foot, which can lead to increased pressure on the knees and ankles. The balance shifts from stability to risk, and this becomes particularly dangerous on uneven surfaces, in public spaces, or on stairs. What's fascinating is how this habit often starts from emotional places, not physical ones. A fear of falling, a desire to hide discomfort. Even emotional stress or anxiety can manifest in this body language. The physical world and the mental world mirror each other, and so this posture becomes more than just a physical cue. It's a reflection of how someone feels in the world. Have you noticed someone who walks like this? Maybe even yourself. If so, drop a comment below. Try writing the word posture if this hit close to home. Let's start a conversation about what our bodies are really trying to tell us. And once the posture begins to lean forward, it's not long before another quiet shift happens. People start to avoid challenges, inclines, stairs, slight hills, even that small ramp outside a store. They're no longer seen as harmless slopes, but as threats, things to be feared, sidestepped, or completely avoided. And here lies a truth most people never stop to consider. The body does not grow stronger by staying comfortable. It grows stronger by being challenged, by facing resistance, by adapting to something just slightly outside its current capacity. Yet for many elderly individuals, those moments of challenge have been gradually removed, either by fear, discomfort, or the subtle encouragement of others who say, "Don't push yourself." But when you remove the stairs, the hills, the natural inclines of daily life, you don't just make walking easier, you eliminate the opportunity for the legs to engage at their full potential. Walking on a flat surface can become so repetitive, so predictable, that the body no longer has to think. The calves don't stretch, the thighs don't activate with intensity. The glutes, which are essential for posture and power, start to go quiet. And this silence in the muscle system doesn't happen overnight. It's gradual, invisible, but devastating. The irony is that many people believe they're protecting themselves by avoiding these situations. They think they're reducing the risk of falling. But in reality, it's this very avoidance that increases the risk, because the muscles forget how to stabilize, the joints lose their flexibility, and the nervous system stops communicating effectively with the lower body when unpredictable terrain appears. So the next time a step must be taken, perhaps at a friend's house, or while traveling, or even just in a moment of distraction, the body doesn't respond the way it should. That's when the stumbles come. That's when accidents happen. Not because of one big mistake, but because of hundreds of small choices to avoid effort. And it's not just physical. There's a psychological toll too. Avoidance slowly chips away at independence. It sends the message, I can't. It narrows the world into smaller and smaller circles until walking becomes something done only in the safest of spaces, with full concentration and constant worry. That's no way to live. The body craves challenge. It was made for movement. It thrives in motion, in terrain that makes it think and feel and react. If you've ever caught yourself choosing the elevator when you didn't really need to, or avoiding that slight hill on your street, share your experience in the comments. Type hill or stairs if this part made you think differently. Let's talk about how we can bring strength back, one step at a time. As the world becomes smaller and inclines are avoided, something else begins to take center stage: support devices. Walkers' canes, even walls and furniture, start becoming silent companions in the journey from one room to another. At first, it may feel like just a precaution, something helpful, just in case. But slowly, without even realizing it, the body begins to depend on that support in ways that go far beyond safety. The cane doesn't just help, it takes over. The walker doesn't just offer balance, it replaces the challenge that the muscles were meant to meet head-on. And while these tools have their place, especially for recovery or serious instability, the overuse of them can quietly strip the legs of their power, their memory, their identity as the true foundation of movement. There's something psychological that happens when a person begins to lean too much on something outside of themselves. The brain stops communicating with the legs with the same urgency. The muscles receive fewer signals to activate, and the rhythm of walking becomes robotic, mechanical, no longer fluid and responsive. What used to be a dynamic activity, walking, turns into something cautious, stiff, even disconnected. And in that space of dependency, strength fades faster than most people expect. The legs don't get the full range of motion. The core muscles disengage, and suddenly, standing without support feels like an impossible task, even if it wasn't that way just a few months earlier. It's a kind of learned helplessness that doesn't come from weakness, but from lack of use, like a plant that withers not from disease, but from neglect. The body adapts quickly to whatever we demand of it, but it also adapts quickly to what we don't demand. And if we never ask our legs to carry our weight fully, they begin to forget how. This is not to say that mobility aids are bad. They are tools, not traps. But the moment they replace effort instead of assisting it, they become part of the problem. What's even more striking is how society often encourages this. Friends and family, out of love, say, just use the walker, or take the cane, just to be safe. But what begins as support becomes surrender, and the longer it continues, the harder it is to come back from it. That's why awareness matters. It's not about pushing past limits, it's about recognizing when the body still has more to give, and refusing to let it fade quietly into stillness. If you've seen this happen, or felt it happening yourself, share in the comments below. Write the word support if this part touched something personal, Let's keep this conversation real, honest, and helpful for those who might be going through it right now. After dependency on support devices becomes part of the routine, something else starts to shrink, not just strength, but environment. Many older adults begin to limit their walking to flat, predictable surfaces, often indoors, where they feel most secure. At first glance, this makes perfect sense. It's safer, it's familiar, there are no surprises. But what seems like a wise decision on the surface is actually a quiet surrender to monotony, and the body notices. Muscles that once reacted to uneven sidewalks, shifting gravel, and unpredictable terrain begin to fall asleep. The small stabilizers in the ankles stop firing. The reflexes slow down. The legs no longer learn how to adapt because they're no longer asked to, and this kind of adaptation, or lack of it, goes deeper than people imagine. Flat ground does not challenge the body's balance systems. It does not stimulate the proprioceptors, the sensors in our joints that tell the brain where we are in space. When these systems go unused, they become dulled, and with that dullness comes a dangerous kind of vulnerability. The first time someone has to walk across a grassy park, or navigate a cracked sidewalk, or step over a puddle, the body may not remember how to respond. What used to be second nature becomes a risky negotiation. And the price of that over-sheltered walking routine is felt in every muscle that no longer knows how to support and adjust. What's more, the indoor environment rarely gives the legs a chance to explore their full range of motion. There are few inclines, few chances to sidestep, pivot, or react quickly. The walk becomes a loop, a repeatable, limited pattern that barely stretches the capabilities of the body. And as this becomes the new norm, the legs lose their edge, not just in strength, but in awareness. It's like driving the same route every day and forgetting how to handle a sudden detour. This pattern isn't just physical either. It starts to affect confidence. Once someone gets used to the idea that indoors equals safety and outdoors equals risk, the world becomes smaller. Adventures are put on hold. Spontaneity disappears. Even going out for groceries or a short walk in the neighborhood begins to feel intimidating. It's a silent erosion of freedom disguised as caution. If this resonates with you or reminds you of someone close to you, take a moment to reflect in the comments. Write the phrase, flat ground, if you've noticed this in yourself or others. Your voice might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to break out of the loop. And as the environment becomes flatter and more predictable, another silent accomplice in leg weakness often slips by unnoticed. Footwear. Shoes, often treated as an afterthought, play a much bigger role in physical health than most people realize. The wrong pair, or even just an old, worn-out one, can quietly sabotage posture, destabilize balance, and drain strength from the legs with every step. The feet are the foundation of the entire body. When that foundation becomes unstable or misaligned, everything above it, ankles, knees, hips, spine, must compensate, and those compensations come at a cost. Imagine walking across your home in shoes that have lost their shape, with soles that no longer offer real support or traction. Every step becomes just slightly off. The foot rolls inward too much or not enough. The heel hits harder than it should. The toes grip where they shouldn't. Over time, these small mechanical errors ripple through the body. Muscles begin to tighten in the wrong areas. The knees bear pressure unevenly. The hips lose their natural rhythm. And worst of all, the body starts to fatigue faster, because it's working harder just to stay balanced. What many don't realize is that unsupportive shoes don't always feel bad at first. In fact, familiarity can be deceiving. That favorite pair of slippers or sneakers may seem comfortable, but comfort doesn't always mean healthy. The softest shoe can still fail to hold the arch or stabilize the heel. And when the foot is not held in proper alignment, the rest of the body suffers. It's like driving a car with misaligned wheels. Maybe you don't notice it right away, but the wear and tear adds up quickly. This is especially dangerous for older adults whose sense of balance is already more fragile. Worn-out soles reduce traction, increasing the risk of slips. Lack of arch support makes long walks exhausting, and shoes that don't fit just right can cause blisters, toe pain, or subtle limping patterns that eventually lead to chronic joint strain. All of these issues over time take a quiet toll on the legs, weakening them, tiring them, and encouraging the very habits that lead to further decline. If this is something you hadn't thought about before, or if someone you love wears the same old pair of shoes every day without thinking twice, it might be time for a closer look. Drop a comment below with the word shoes if this made you reflect. Let's open a real conversation about how something so small can have such a big impact. And after the shoes fail to support and every step begins to feel like a chore, there's another detail that often gets overlooked: arm movement. It may sound insignificant, even unrelated, but walking without swinging the arms is more than just a visual change. It's a functional one. The human body was designed for balance through coordination. Every step taken by the leg is meant to be counterbalanced by a swing of the opposite arm. This natural motion isn't just a rhythm, it's a form of stability, a way for the body to maintain equilibrium and reduce stress on the spine, hips, and knees. So when older adults stop swinging their arms, whether due to stiffness, fear, or habit, they quietly disrupt this entire system. The first thing that happens is a change in momentum. With the arms held stiff at the sides or crossed in front, the body can't use them to generate forward motion. As a result, the legs are forced to work harder, especially the thighs and hip flexors, which begin to take on more than their share of the effort. This leads to faster fatigue, especially during longer walks, and the muscles start to wear down faster. Without the balancing effect of the arms, even small, uneven movements in the legs can throw off the whole gait, leading to instability and eventually a greater risk of tripping or falling. But there's more. The arms are deeply connected to the core muscles. A natural arm swing engages the torso, activating the abdominals and obliques, which help maintain posture and control. When the arms stop moving, this chain reaction of engagement is broken. The body becomes less efficient, less connected, more fragile in how it moves. And over time, that fragility turns into habit. It becomes a way of walking that feels safe, but is actually robbing the body of its strength. There's also an emotional component to consider. Stiff arms often reflect internal tension, fear, anxiety, or lack of confidence. It's a posture of defense, not freedom. And walking in that state, day after day, becomes not just physically draining, but mentally exhausting. The body forgets what it's like to move with flow, with balance, with trust in its own design. If you've ever noticed yourself or someone close walking with arms frozen, held tight, or not swinging at all, leave a comment below. Type the word balance if this part spoke to you. Your perspective might just help someone else realize what their body has been trying to say all along. If you've made it this far, it means this message spoke to you in some way, and we'd truly love to know how. How did this video touch your heart? What insight made you stop and reflect? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one because your voice matters here. If this content moved you, inspired you, or helped you see something differently, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another video that could truly transform your perspective. Leave a like to support this mission of awareness, healing, and strength. It helps this message reach even more people who need it. And don't go just yet. The next video is already waiting for you on the end screen, ready to continue this journey. Let's keep walking forward together.